We are kicking off with Saturday night's main event, which saw two titans collide in San Antonio as Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu faced off in the night's hardest-hitting contest. Things were physical from the start, with both big men trading shots early, and Strowman sent Fatu flying over the top rope, but Fatu fired back by dropping Braun on the ropes. The Samoan werewolf followed up with a dive to the outside, and their brawl at ringside would include a Samoan drop through the announce table. Fatu would eventually snap and ignore the referee to hit 8 straight hip attacks in the corner, forcing the official to call for the DQ, but that wouldn't stop Fatu. Fatu tossed chairs, assaulted security, and climbed the turnbuckle to deliver a double jump moonsault on Strowman, and not even his ally Tama Tonga could calm him down. Fatu delivered 2 more moonsaults before finally walking away, only to come back for one final exclamation point, and according to Fightful Select, this spot had some last-minute changes. The last 2 moonsaults were last-second calls from the gorilla position, and they certainly demonstrated that Fatu is a monster on the same level as the former Universal Champion. For years, fans called on WWE to bring Jacob Fatu into the fold, and now the former MLW World Champion is on the roster and has wasted no time in making an impression. Are you happy with WWE's booking of Fatu so far? And are you interested in seeing a rematch with Braun Strowman? Share your thoughts and ideas down in the comments section. In the main event of Saturday night's main event, Jey Uso came up short in his match against Gunther, but Cody Rhodes wasn't going to let Jey leave with his head down. After the show went off the air, Rhodes hit the ring to console his friend, who, despite putting up a valiant fight, did not win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. 2 back-to-back powerbombs ensured that Gunther's reign continued, but when the champ was backstage, Rhodes grabbed the mic to say that Jey's moment will come. He said, "Michael Cole just said it, you guys all know it, you just watched that match. He said Jey Uso's time will come. I know it doesn't feel good, Jey, I've been there, but you're a champion to me, you're a champion to everybody here. Let's hear it for my friend Jey Uso." The former tag team champions shared a heartfelt embrace before Rhodes turned his focus to comedian Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias, who was sitting in the crowd for the show. Rhodes invited Fluffy into the ring, and the 3 of them played to the crowd to send the people in San Antonio home happy after the main event's crushing ending. Cody Rhodes has been building momentum to his Royal Rumble ladder match with Kevin Owens, while Jey is still on the hunt as the road to WrestleMania is heating up. Do you think Jey Uso will get another shot at the gold soon? And will we one day add Jey's name to the history of WWE World Champions? Drop your thoughts in the comments. At Saturday night's main event, Rhea Ripley retained her women's world title against Nia Jax, and after their battle in San Antonio, Rhea gave fans a glimpse of the aftermath. On her Instagram stories, Ripley shared a mirror selfie revealing a bruised right eye, and in the caption explained how "grind never stops, pain and all." The bruise was courtesy of the headbutt Jax delivered during the introductions, and ever since the event, rumors have circulated that Ripley was hurt later on during the match. While these rumors have not been confirmed, sources told Fightful Select that Ripley had the wind knocked out of her during one of the more physical spots with her challenger. The champion was said to be okay after the match and is not expected to miss any in-ring time based on what people in the know have shared so far. Ripley may have been okay, but the bruise shows she was clearly left worse for wear after she retained her title against the Irresistible Force. Ripley's attention will now turn to the future as this weekend's WWE will host the Royal Rumble, and though she isn't booked, Ripley will be watching the Women's Royal Rumble very closely. In addition to the headbutt, another spot that had fans talking at Saturday night's main event came when Ripley attempted to put Jax in the Prism Trap. Ripley was unable to fully lock in the move, and during the attempt, Jax flailed to escape and seemingly grabbed Rhea's buttocks in a moment that quickly went viral online. On social media, Jax playfully denied the accusation that she'd grabbed Ripley's butt, and despite this being photographed and filmed, she said, "That's not me." Rhea Ripley has now responded after Nia Jax denied the accusation, and she took to social media to respond to Jax's evasive response. In her own comment, Ripley simply said, "Diss you," alongside a gif that indicated that Jax had indeed touched her posterior during the Women's World title match. Jax may have been handsy during the match, but now hopes to grab a rematch against Ripley by winning this weekend's Women's Royal Rumble match. Over to AEW Collision, as early into the show, Powerhouse Hobbs and Big Bill fought in the parking lot, and it would take security guards to separate the two before things got worse. Later on, Bill cut a promo and called out Hobbs, and the Powerhouse obliged as the pair continued their brawl, this time in the ring. This time, Big Bill was prepared and had a backpack full of weapons, including bricks to use against Hobbs, resulting in the former TNT champion being busted open. The pair brought their fight to the edge of the entrance stage, where Hobbs grabbed Bill and launched them both off the stage with a belly-to-belly suplex through a ringside table. The two laid there unresponsive as officials and medical staff rushed to check on them, and after such a scary spot, fans were worried that either man may have suffered an injury. Wade Keller of PW Torch reports that both men were thoroughly checked out backstage and determined to be fine, despite participating in the very dangerous spot on the stage. Clearly, the feud between these two isn't over, and we'll have to see what's next in this angle, as the pair will have to find a way to surpass what fans saw in Collision. Now, MJF and Jeff Jarrett have been engaged in a heated feud filled with personal insults over recent weeks, and there's no sign that this rivalry will be over anytime soon. In this feud, Jeff Jarrett, despite being the face, has been insulting MJF's mother, behavior that doesn't typically align with the good guy role, who usually takes the high road. On the other hand, MJF has made insulting remarks about Karen Jarrett and has even claimed that Jeff is exploiting the death of Owen Hart to his own gain and in order to get a big send-off. According to sources, one idea AEW Creative is thinking about is for MJF to humiliate Jarrett by bringing in names from Double J's past who have unresolved issues with him. Though Jarrett commands respect from many, there's some who resent him, and for example, Raven could appear to accuse Jeff of holding him back in TNA to prioritize his own stardom. Speaking of TNA, Dixie Carter is another name AEW is currently considering, and her involvement could create unexpected drama as part of this feud with MJF. Carter and her family played a pivotal role in TNA getting off the ground, as did Jarrett, but the pair were often not on the same page. On his podcast last month, Jeff claimed that Dixie despised his wife Karen, and so it'd make a lot of sense for Carter to align with MJF given his recent comments about Jeff's better half. Carter has since bowed away from wrestling, though made a cameo in OVW in late 2023 to support her nephew EC3, and will we see her as part of AEW? Only time will tell. In 2019, Riho became the first ever AEW Women's World Champion, but despite that strong push, fans have seen very little of her as of late. Riho has been missing since July 2024 when she defeated Lady Frost in her AEW Collision debut, and this match ended up being her only appearance of the year. Riho sustained an arm injury during the match and later confirmed on Instagram that it was fractured and she hadn't been seen in the ring ever since. Even before this, Riho had been largely absent from AEW programming, as from mid-2023 to the moment of her injury, she'd wrestled just 8 times for the promotion. Now, though, sources report that Riho was present at last month's AEW World's End, and the former champion wasn't just there to watch from the sidelines. Fightful Select reports that Riho was in the ring training before the pay-per-view, fueling speculation that she might be gearing up for a return soon. Despite this, there's no official word on when, if ever, she'll be competing in an AEW ring anytime soon, as AEW's women's division continues to evolve without her. Riho's return could shake things up, but right now, it's a case of wait and see, and do you think AEW should bring Riho back, or has the division moved on without her? Let us know below. We have some sad news to report now, as Ed Wiskowski, best known as Colonel De Beers and the Polish Prince, has passed away at the age of 80. Wiskowski is known for his time in the AWA, where he feuded with the likes of Jimmy Snuka and Scott Hall, and his Colonel De Beers character made him a loathed heel in the 1980s. The character was that of a militant South African heel during apartheid, and much to the ire of fans, Wiskowski would win plenty of NWA regional championships throughout his run. It was the Cauliflower Alley Club that shared the news of Wiskowski's passing, and though no cause of death is known, fans have been sharing their tributes to the late wrestler. Wiskowski entertained fans for decades with his work in the ring and impressive promos, and we at Slatrock would like to send our deepest condolences to those who knew him at this sad time. For years, Gisele Shaw was part of the TNA Knockouts division, but last year Shaw left the company, leading many to wonder what had happened. Speaking to Ring the Bell, Shaw was asked about leaving TNA and revealed that news of the split came out far sooner than first expected. Shaw recalled having tea in the morning only for her phone to blow up with messages, as Shaw didn't know that news of exiting TNA had already been made public. Explaining the reason behind leaving TNA, Shaw stated that, "I feel like we just weren't really aligning," and shared that creative seemingly didn't have anything for the Knockout. Shaw really tried to stick it out, but ultimately felt that the TNA run had run its course and is now ready to take their skills to other promotions around the world. Since AEW launched in 2019, Tony Khan has been the ultimate deciding factor in terms of creative, and while others have joined, Khan ultimately has the final say. In recent months, though, it's all been reported that more names in AEW have gotten involved with creative, including Jon Moxley taking a lead role in sculpting the Death Riders angle. The much-praised angle between Tony Storm and Mariah May has been crafted by RJ City, and Fightful Select now reports that Khan has been in the weeds more creatively as of late. The report adds that those within AEW were pumped for last week's homecoming edition of Collision, which people in AEW felt went very well. As for Khan, he remains a busy individual in AEW, even with others taking on the lead of certain creative angles, as the company's president will still have the final say on much of his show. Last year, Ilya Dragunov made the move to Monday Night Raw, but in September, his career hit a major obstacle when he suffered a torn ACL at a WWE live event. That injury came in a World Heavyweight title match against his old rival Gunther, and at the time, it was reported that he'd be expected to be out for 6 to 9 months. Now, though, Fightful Select reports that the former NXT and NXT UK champion was spotted throughout last week at the WWE Performance Center, where he was in workout gear. While this news has excited fans, it's worth remembering that this doesn't guarantee an imminent return, and the purpose of his visit to the PC is currently unknown. Dragunov could have been there to train, or he may have been present to be evaluated by the medical team, but whatever the case, the Mad Dragon is taking big steps in his recovery. The last time fans saw Hologram in action, it was part of AEW Wrestle Dream, where he defeated the Beast Mortos in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Now fans can expect to see the masked star back soon, as during last weekend's AEW Collision Homecoming, AEW shared a cryptic tease for his return. A transmission was shown on the screen which resembled a program boot-up sequence before cutting out with a message of access denied. The tease gave no hint as to when exactly fans can expect Hologram back, but its airing certainly suggests that it'll come relatively soon. Hologram is 15-0 in AEW since debuting back in July of last year, and it remains to be seen if he can continue this momentum once he's back on our screens. We mentioned earlier that Rhea Ripley has not been booked for this weekend's Royal Rumble, but that doesn't mean fans won't be seeing the Women's World Champion. In a post-match interview at Saturday night's main event, it was brought up that Ripley could enter the Women's Royal Rumble as champion, and if she won, would challenge Tiffany Stratton. In response, Ripley shared that she's not interested in winning another Women's Rumble, but teased big things, saying, "I think it would be a bad decision. Maybe I'll be in the men's one." Ripley has shown that she can quite literally manhandle her male counterparts in WWE, and if she did enter the men's match, she'd be the 5th woman in history to do so. Chyna, Beth Phoenix, Karma, and Nia Jax all know what it's like to enter the 30-man contest, but fans may soon Rhea Ripley join this list this weekend in Lucas Oil Stadium. In 2024, Odyssey Jones was cut from WWE shortly after his arrival on Raw following allegations of domestic violence, but now the former superstar is ready to get back in the ring. On Instagram, Jones shared that he is accepting bookings now under the name of Odyssey with 2 Ds, and Jones is ready to reestablish himself in the ring away from WWE. For years, Jonathan Coachman was part of WWE, and whether it was being embarrassed by DX or feuding with Hornswoggle, the coach almost never shied away from doing what was asked. On a recent episode of the Wrestling Then and Now podcast, though, Coachman did recall telling WWE no one time, and how it would prove to be a painful experience in the ring. Coach shared that in 2005, WWE was prepping for its tribute to the Troop show, but his wife, who was pregnant at the time, asked him not to go as she was worried about the war zone. Coachman told WWE he wouldn't be making the trip and explained that when the day of the trip came, he was asked for his bags, as management had thought he was joking. WWE thought he was joking, as he had always agreed to whatever was asked of him, and Coachman shared that things changed for him after the roster got back from the trip. Within a week of telling WWE no, he was removed from commentary, and after a WWE taping, he was told by Earl Hebner to do a spot where he attacked The Undertaker. Coachman said the spot made no sense as the show was already over, but he realized that he was being punished by Vince McMahon for not doing the trip. Doing what he was told, Coachman attacked the Phenom, who also knew what was going on, and according to Coach, apologized as he was giving Coachman a beatdown. As if an attack by The Undertaker wasn't enough, Coachman took finishers from other wrestlers and said, "This was the moment I knew I can't be here anymore." Though Coach knew he couldn't stay, it wouldn't be until June 2008, 2.5 years later, that he'd leave WWE after he decided not to renew his contract. Coachman didn't reveal if he was injured, though he must have been feeling worse for wear after taking these finishers, all because he told WWE no so he could go support his pregnant wife. And we're ending with AEW, as the company, like any other, is often the subject of criticism, and recently WCW alum Disco Inferno shared his hot takes about Tony Khan's promotion. On Twitter, Disco took aim at AEW's social media account, which he claims has not only blocked him, but posts bad spots from matches. Disco said that this isn't exactly good for AEW, who often promote themselves as "we're the best wrestle," and there have been examples of AEW's social media account doing this. Last year's spot with Tony Storm and Saraya that didn't go to plan was shared by AEW, and this was the case a few weeks ago when AEW shared spots from the Chris Jericho-Dax Harwood match. Disco didn't name a specific spot he's seen, but is no fan on how AEW's social media accounts are run, and we'll have to see if AEW changes how it does things following this criticism.